Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about non-fungible tokens. So let's dive right into it. Now first, before we understand non-fungibility, we have to understand what is fungibility. Fungibility simply means things have a value that can be exchanged with similar value items. For example, in Indian currency, you can have four 500 rupee basically banknotes, or you can have one 2000 rupee system. Both are same. Basically, you can deposit this in a bank. When you are trying to withdraw it, they can give you this and you cannot complain because they have same value. And again, this is 500, like they may even give you basically let's say around 20 100 rupees notes. Things of that nature can be done. Or again, same goes for almost every banknote, be it $1 bill 10 times or one $10 bill, same thing. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of fungibility, meaning things are exchangeable within same quote-unquote value category. For example, gold, meaning you can have a gold, like let's say from one bank and take gold from another bank. If they have same weight value, meaning let's say both of them are 5 gram, you will get the same amount of money for them. And that's the whole point of fungibility. It allows basically everything in our world to work, meaning 100% of trade and 100% of economics relies on the fact of fungibility, meaning that's how you deal with stuff, meaning that's how you pay for stuff. Nobody's gonna ask you like, hey, give me this exact new banknote that has been published in this time and has been handled by this many things. Like, they're not gonna give me $1,000. How do you give that? That's up to you. That's the whole point. That's the basis of our economic trade and everything basically. So that's fungibility, meaning similar value things can be exchanged. Banknotes are generally excellent example. Gold also have that, but there is a issue, like if you take that gold, convert it into jewelry, that jewelry has a making charge to that. Now again, if the buyer pays for you, good for you. If buyer does not pay for you, you can't complain. So that's what we classify as fungible items. And then we come to non-fungible things. Non-fungible simply means one of a kind, meaning generally things that are not mass produced, because when you are talking about mass produced item, you are only talking about the value of the things that went into it. Meaning, let's say a car is mass produced, so you will be like, okay, how many of these gonna be mass produced? Company is gonna figure out like, okay, this is the car value, basically material cost of it, this is the labor cost of it, this is the R&D cost, and this is our profit, and they're gonna give you a fixed price, and that's it. However, non-fungible items are not like that. They are one of a kind, meaning they have no fixed value, or you can say the value is infinite, meaning you can get almost 0 to infinite between anything like that. So what does that mean? That simply means it's not fixed to something. It's basically the scarcer something is, the more expensive it becomes. For example, Mona Lisa. Now, why it's so expensive? Is it the world's greatest painting? No, but people think it is from Leonardo da Vinci. Again, people have verified this. This is actually from Leonardo. But you get that point. Like, people think it's important. That's why it is important. It's one of those things where it's like, again, would you pay $5 million for this painting? Most people will say, hell no. Why the heck I would? Like, many people, even if they are interested in this sort of thing, they may be like, you know what, a Lamborghini is far more useful. You get that point. If people are willing to pay for it, it has a value. Now, because it's rarity, it's 100% non-fungible, meaning you cannot replace it. You can have a completely amazing digital scan of it, like almost 3D scan to it, almost on a molecular level. Still, it will not replace this puppy, because this is original thing that has been surviving from what, 1500s or something like that. So this is non-fungible. This is priceless. Same goes for this ticket I'm saying, basically postage stamp. It is priceless. Same goes for this Action Comics volume number 1, and this was released in June 1938. At that point in time, it was priceless. It's like what, 10 cents or something like that. However, right now it has been selling for like millions of dollars, almost 2-3 millions of dollars. So basically, once you have like at a scarcity model, even common things that, like, postage stamps or like common comics becomes priceless. Especially time, basically it becomes non-fungible over time, and it's a physical thing. Like, you can have only one copy of this. For example, there are not that many basically comics copy that are intact from that time. Now this is intact, that's why it is so priceless. Again, if this painting was destroyed, and there was like, let's say Leonardo da Vinci painted 2 Mona Lisas, but one was destroyed, that people found out very early on, and it was put in library museum, and then you randomly found some another one that is like completely verified, all the testing was done, this is the same thing, but it is not damaged, its price will go ludicrously high. That's the whole thing. Now, how high the price can go? Well, that's directly proportional to how much someone is willing to pay. Be mindful, when I'm saying this ticket is $2.5 million, that simply means there are other auction houses, there are other art basically stamp collectors that are like, dude, if you basically want to sell this, I will give you 2.5 million for it. That's the whole point. People have to sell it. Again, there are other stamps also, but again, people will only pay, let's say $100 for it. That's a $100 worth item. But again, the stamp itself could be 1 cent. but if you are willing to pay for it, it has that value. That's the whole point of non-fungible thing, meaning this action comics is priceless simply because people are willing to pay millions of dollars for this. Like I think last evaluation was around 2.6 million. So that's the whole point. Now there is no rule and regulation, meaning this sort of item, basically paintings, comics books, and like basically rare and far out items, they have no rules and regulation. Meaning if somebody is like, let's say you want to really buy this, let's say you are a collector, you really want to buy this, and you're thinking, hey, I don't think this deserves more than, let's say, $10,000. Again, you buy. Company who's dealing with this will simply say buy. There is no rule, there is no regulation. It's like, oh, we can only charge 10,000 times more than the actual price. And then, no, it's up to them. They can be like, hey, don't come to us unless you have $1 billion. And because of the, like, mine's bigger than your attitude that we humanity have, there will be somebody who'll just buy it just for love. And I'm like, there was an amazing scene in Iron Man 2. He's like, Pepper Potts says that painting is overpriced. Just like, I need it. That's it. Many people buy that just for that, just to show that price tag, not the thing, just the price tag. So there is no rule, there is no regulation, and in terms of economics, is classified as completely speculative market, meaning it's just the imaginary value, meaning people think Mona Lisa is valuable, that's why it is valuable, and that's why its price is ludicrously high. Same goes for this stamp, because people think it is, therefore it becomes that. Again, let's say in tomorrow world something happens where people 100% lose interest in history and anything of the past. They're just like, I'm done with this. Again, at that point in time, let's say museum runs out of funding and they're like, okay, we have to close down, we have to sell these things, so at least some of them will survive into future. People will be like, yeah, how much for Mona Lisa? Bidding will start from, let's say, $1 million. They're like, nah man, ain't worth it. It could happen. That's the whole point. That is a speculative world, because let's say a recession happens, really bad one, really long-term one. Again, if the person who spent, let's say, $2 million for this puppy cannot sell this for 2.5 million, like other collector maybe in a much better wealthy position, they were like, dude, right now is not the correct economics for it. So you get that point. It's 100% non-fungible, meaning there is no value to it. You can assign as much value as you want, or you can assign as little as you want. Because like if somebody asks me, it's like, would you pay for this? I'm like, hell no. This no. That's the whole point. But there are some rich people who are like, I pay for the finer things in life. That's the whole point. Non-fungible, meaning it has no absolute value. You can go YOLO on it. So what is NFT? NFT is basically a digital variant of that, non-fungible token. So that part is very important, token part, meaning it's a basically blockchain file that once created, it's basically origin traceable and non-clonable, meaning you can't Control-C, Control-V it, meaning that's the one selling point of digital files, is that you can clone them 10,000 times, all of them are original. Meaning, let's say you take a film photo, you take a film SLR, is like, kachang, now you have negative. That negative is the original, that physically exists, that's physical reality. But here's what happens in your digital camera. It creates what we call raw file. Now if you save that raw file and you transfer it to, let's say, 10 hard drives or 10 DVDs and share it amongst the world, all of them are original. Like from every point of measurement, all of them are original. So NFT tries to solve that. It's like, I'm gonna create a blockchain specific file which is origin traceable, meaning where it was created, when it was created, that point will be stored in it, and it will be non-clonable, because every time you will transfer it from Control-C, Control-V to it, or basically share it to someone, it will say owner transferred, new owner transferred, new owner, meaning you can keep doing it for 500 times, and every time you can trace back to like who was the original owner of that. That's the whole point, meaning it gives you a way of verifying which was the original file. Meaning, let's say you have a original music mix of Linkin Park, original, meaning when sound engineers sat down before they mastered it for CDs and DVD, that original raw audio original, that master file, that could be like few gigabyte per song. Let's say you have that. Again, once you clone it, it's copy, Control-C, Control-V. There is no difference between A copy to B copy. But if you did it through NFT, it creates a token for that file, which is like, no, this is that original copy, meaning this is the first copy. Now, every other thing will not have that token. That's the whole point, token part of it. And that token can be attached to any digital file, meaning you can attach to audio, you can attach to video, you can attach to images, or you can attach to any type of data, maybe in-game data, maybe whatever have you. Basically, as long as it's digital, like GIF or images or something like that, you can just attach that token to it. So what's it trying to do? It's trying to solve a problem which is basically make digital rather than infinitely copyable to limited and scarce, meaning the NFT tag of this puppy is only one. There is only one of it, and you have to buy it from the person who holds it at this point. You can copy, Control-C, Control-V this image 100% of the time. Don't have to worry about it, but that original token will only be one, and you have to buy it, because otherwise, like, again, you can hack it or hijack it, basically steal it. In those sort of things, that's up to you, but like legally you have to basically buy the token. That's the whole point of that. it's traceable, because if you like, hey, I have this, and you try to resell it, people will be like, where is the token of it? And they will open the token. It's like, dude, this token shows that you just made it last evening, but this file, let's say, is 10 years old. You're like, dude, where's that original token? That's the whole point. It's making basically digital files into a something like of a physical thing. Basically, it's the traceable point. However, it's one of those things which is 100% useless. It's like almost like, why? Because many times people have this wrong impression of NFT that it's almost like digital rights management. It's not. Meaning, for example, let's say I worked as a game artist, so I had to sign what we classify as NDA, meaning non-disclosure element, or non-disclosure agreements, meaning any work I did for my company for 2 years or 2.5 years I worked there, I cannot say to any outside party unless the company gives me the permission to do so. So meaning I can say I worked in game Forza after release. I cannot say that before release. After release, I can say, hey, I worked in Forza, and people like, how was the proof? I will say, look in the game Forza 4, I think, Forza Horizon, and like there will be my name there, Anupam Vipul in the credit. So that's what we classify as management, meaning you have to hire an artist before the artist makes the product for you, and then you have to pay them. Okay, that's one. After that, once you have made that, let's say once the Microsoft paid our studio and all that, they deal with what we call digital rights management, meaning they will make that game and they're gonna distribute it, and they will make sure that you can't just control C, control V. They will do what we call digital rights management. NFT is not digital rights management. It's just a token that just tells you you have the original. Does that mean anything? Well, to world of collecting, yes, absolutely. I'm like, for it, to me, it sounds stupid to like pay millions of dollars for like, you know, comic books. I'm like, it's just not worth it. To me, any painting is only worth to a certain point. Again, I'm an artist, so I do understand like it does take some amount of creativity, some value. But like once I start people talking about like $300 million, I'm like, dude, it's just a piece of paper. It's not $300 million worth. But you get that point. Like, if as long as people are willing to pay, it's that value. However, when you have basically digital rights management, basically let's say you are a studio that made a TV show, every actor had to sign that NDA, and they had to deal with that stuff. Then they have to create that right, and then they sell the right basically to Netflix or Amazon or whatever have you, and they can revoke it, and they will make profit from doing so. However, you can't do that with NFT. Legally, you can't do anything like that. So people can still take your images, clone it, modify it, or distribute it, and you cannot do anything. Now you're like, then why the heck people are buying it? Well, just to show off. It's just a flexing, right? It's just like, you know, I'm so rich, I have the original NFT of that Hello Kitty meme for some reason. Other than there is nothing. It's just like, mine's bigger than yours. There is nothing other than that in that. It's just a token of ownership. And in terms of market, it's classified as hyper speculative market, meaning as long as people think there is a value, people will keep investing into that. However, people know that more than enough economics exist in this world, that enough people are distracted. It's like, dude, this is 100% useless. But some people will say stupid things like, you know, this will allow you to have trading NFTs between games. No, anybody who's saying that is never dealt with any game engine, simply because you cannot trade between games. You, at best case scenario, you can only trade between lazy games from lazy studios. For example, Call of Duty, you can transfer between Call of Duty 7 and Call of Duty 8, because again, more or less they will be used the same engine, same files, with a little bit of lighting change. So maybe you can transfer that. But again, transferring from, let's say, Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 6, yeah, no, that's not happening. That's not happening. I worked in this thing. Basically, everything changes inherently. Each game file that has been made, let's say Counter-Strike, once it's been made, it's a completely locked system. It's a complete unique code base, which we classify as that. You cannot be like, oh, this file has been copied from, let's say, Half-Life, where is another source game. Not Portal. Let's say Portal. Can you Control-C, Control-V, gravity gun into this? No, it will not work. The game engine will not support it, because whenever you are talking about game engine, you're talking about two variant of game engine. One game engine that is like, you know, that developer used to make the, after that it's a completely stripped down up. There is no fluff into it. There's like only lockdown. Once it's locked down, you can't do whatever you want to do with it. So that's why that, like, you know, we can transfer thing, no, 100% useless. That's the worst idea. For example, this game Crypto Kitties, it's making boatload of money. They are making boatload of Ethereum, and they are like converting that. They're basically the developer of this puppy. They are swimming in money. However, people were like, oh, I have this NFT, it has actual value to it. Not really. You think it has value, that's why you spend money on it, but other than that, there is nothing to it. And that's why like Steam has flat out blocked it, because again, from any company's point of view, this is more or less the same as like trading a rare skin. For example, this gun skin, it's very rare. Now again, if there was NFT added to this, all it will change is like somebody can say, no, I was the original owner of it. Other than that, nothing else. And again, you can still do that right now. You can still do that. Like there, if people are a streamer or a big gamer, they can still say that, and they have to be, because again, these things were selling for like $10,000. Like, why? I'm like, what the hell are you doing that you are willing to spend $10,000 on a freaking game skin? But people do that. That's non-fungible now, and that's the thing. People think it has value though, so they spend for it. But NFT has no such thing. However, whenever you're talking about companies point of view, they rather do content management or digital rights management. Then they have that thing. NFT does not mean you have that thing. NFT simply means you paid the original artist and you can claim that you have that original token. Digital file, they can do YOLO whatever they want to do with it. So that's why it's 100% useless. It's just working on an illusion and speculative hype at this point in time. So what we can expect in the future? Well, it's gonna make boatload of money for sellers. Basically, if you're an artist and you're selling in NFT, you're gonna be swimming in money. That's awesome for you. And auction houses that are taking small cuts from it, they're gonna be swimming in money. However, once people actually, that hype calms down, people have to realize that value is directly proportional to how much people are willing to pay. Meaning, am I willing to pay for a Netflix subscription? Then Netflix is valuable to me. But if I'm not willing to pay for it, it's worthless. Think of it this way. Let's say tomorrow something happens. Let's say Netflix does something hyper dumb, and people are like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not buying Netflix anymore. What happens to Netflix? Its values goes poof, zero. So that same thing happens for NFT. For example, stock market, whenever somebody buys stock, they never buy stock for keeping it to themselves. They always buy the stock to resell it. For example, you buy Theranos stock. Why you bought it? Well, you thought this company is gonna succeed in the future. I'm gonna buy it, let's say, stock for $10 per stock, and then I'm gonna sell this puppy for, let's say, $10,000 in the future. You thought of that. Again, time could vary. You may be like, oh, I'm only doing this for 1 month, or it could be like, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna keep it in my long-term portfolio, and I'm gonna open it up in my retirement, whatever have you. But you always buy it to resell. Same goes with NFT. You always buy NFT to sell it, unless some collectors would be like, you know what, I will keep the original. But most of the time, most of the people are just buying it just so they can sell it at higher value. However, at that point in time, they will realize it is not safe nor investment. Basically, their money is lolled. At that point in time, if there is someone stupid enough where it's like, no, you have that original Hello Kitty meme, I'm gonna pay you. Good luck. Good luck. So again, from a flexing point of view, it's a very good idea, but a realistic point of view, not really. There is a reason why, like, Apple's and Google work, but Theranos did not, because they did not had anything of real value. Same goes with Nikola, hydrogen truck company. They did not had any. They smuggled around, I think, 30-40 billion dollar. Like General Electric invested in this. Again, why they were investing into this? They were simply, it's like, we're gonna put a little bit of money right now, and we're gonna get boatload of money tomorrow. That's the whole point of it. That's why the company invested in it. But what happened? Poof, money went poof. And that's the whole thing. Same with NFT. You are buying NFTs right now, thinking that tomorrow in the future, or again, unless you are buying something very cheap, you may be like, hey, I'm gonna buy this $100 NFT because just for lol. Again, that's a different thing. But if you are buying NFTs, like, I'm gonna buy NFT right now because its value will go up. Yeah, it will not. It will go up again to sometimes, and it's almost like a pyramid scheme where early investors generally make boatload of money. That's how they attract other prey into the system. But it does collapse, and everything that is going on with NFT and their marketplaces is directly showing complete signature of what we classify as market bubble. Same as Theranos, same as Nikola. Same thing. It's like prices are going too high. It's like, who the hell will pay $1,000 for this artwork? It's like, why? It's like, there are artists you can hire for like $100 per hour, or $100 per day. They will also create you much higher quality. And again, if you make them sign NDA, which you have to do that whenever you're dealing with any system, if you have copyright protection, then you can actually say that. And again, you can have your own stamp into that file, and people will not be able to tamper with that if you deal with the proper high quality basically content DRM. But here it's nothing. Any Tom, Dick and Harry can look at this file and modify it, tamper with it, or whatever have you. So whoever paid 4 Ethereum to it, they just have a bragging right to it. And again, let's say there are someone else who is like, I want to brag even more, so I will buy it for 5 Ethereum. Again, bad for him. That's the whole point. Just because you have spent millions of dollars in NFT does not mean other will pay you back that million. That's the same thing happened with Theranos. The same thing happened with Nirla. Just because you bought it at a certain price does not mean other will pay you the same thing. I think of it this way. Let's say that collector who has that original comics, let's say tomorrow in future, some of his family suffers very catastrophic financial loss and they are like almost ruined. And that point is like, hey, it would be awesome if we can get, let's say, $2-3 million right now and we can save ourselves. Okay, they try to sell it to collector, and let's say there is no collector who is interested. Again, that's money lost. Same happened. Like, this is one of the things you have to understand. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So right now it's really horrible and it's really bad. Like, so many people are falling for that. Again, first generation people who are putting money into it, they're gonna be swimming in money. But by the time third or fourth, by the time, like, that peak starts to taper off, then the tragedy will start to hit. Right now everybody is gonna go YOLO. I think for 10 years it should work without any issue, because again, even these things survive for a few years. So I do expect NFT to survive for a few years, or maybe it just becomes the next thing where it's like, this is my flexing right. Like, that's how rich I am. It's like I have NFTs. So let's see what happens in the future, but be very mindful. Just because you are paying for it does not mean somebody else will pay you for it back. This is one of the things you have to understand. So this was my presentation on NFT. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I will urge you to press dislike. Press it twice, press it thrice if you want to. And I would urge you to leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.